Welcome back everyone to the Detroit Tigers franchise here on MLB The Show 18 as season number 2 is officially over and we went 71-91, which unshockingly was not good enough to make the playoffs. This team showed a lot of improvement going from 62-100 to winning an extra 9 games, as instead of having the first pick again, we're going to get like pick 11 probably, in that range I would say, so probably like pick 10 or pick 11, which obviously isn't as good as the first pick, but it also does show signs of improvement and showing signs that we're getting a little bit better. We're going to be going over stats and pretty much stuff like that, the playoffs. Let's start with standings. So in the American League East, the Boston Red Sox won the division with a whopping 102 wins, and the Baltimore Orioles also nabbed a playoff spot with 91 wins. Yankees, 89 wins, just a couple wins short of the playoffs. In our division, the AL Central, the Cleveland Indians easily won the division with a 96-66 record. The Tigers finished in third, 2 games ahead of the Chicago White Sox and 9 games ahead of the Kansas City Royals. In the AL West, the Los Angeles Angels ended up taking the division. I don't know if the addition of Josh Harrison really helped or not, but it certainly probably did something, as of course, remember, the Tigers did trade Josh Harrison to the Angels at the trade deadline in a deal involving prospect closer Adam Isaac. The Astros also made the playoffs at 91-71, and Nelson Cruz and the Seattle Mariners barely missed the playoffs as the Tigers traded Nelson Cruz back to the Mariners at this year's trade deadline as well. So the Angels, Indians, and Red Sox all won their respective divisions, and the Astros and Orioles will be battling for the wild cards. In the National League, in the NL East, the Washington Nationals easily win the division with a 162 record. The Chicago Cubs win 106 games, going 106-56, and in the NL West, we have 3 playoff teams, as the Dodgers barely win the division with a 162 record. The Giants go 98-64, they get a wild card spot, and the Colorado Rockies go 90-72, earning them a wild card spot. So looking at league leaders, Mike Trout and Chris Bryant led in averages. Bryant with a 362 average. That's pretty impressive. Hits, Chris Bryant and Jose Altuve. At bats, Lindor and Trey Turner. Doubles goes to Lorenzo Cain. Triples goes to Jose Altuve and Ozzie Albies. Home runs goes to Aaron Judge. The NL goes to Bryce Harper. RBIs, Chris Bryant and Aaron Judge. Runs, Chris Bryant and Mike Trout. Stolen bases, D. Gordon and Trey Turner. Walks, Chris Bryant and Paul Goldschmidt. On base percentage, Mike Trout and Freddie Freeman with an outstanding .478. That's almost 50% of his at-bats he got on base, which is incredible. Chris Bryant not too far behind with a .465. Don't know who's going to win MVP out of these two. Probably Bryant, but Freddie Freeman did have a very MVP-like season. Slugging, Freeman and Mike Trout. OPS, Trout and Freeman. Wins, Clayton Kershaw and David Price. Losses, Eduardo Rodriguez and David Price. And in the NL, it is Alex Wood. Saves goes to Wade Davis, Andrew Miller. And in the AL, Cody Allen. ERA, Jake Odorizzi leads in the AL with a 2.73. Remember, on opening day, he had a very good game against the Tigers. And I guess it sort of carried throughout the year. He was named the All-Star starter as well. In the NL, it is Clayton Kershaw with a 1.8 ERA. Excellent year from him, 22-4 record. 0.96 whip, 259 strikeouts. Home runs allowed 11 from Chad Kuhl, Tanner Roark, and Michael Wacha. Clayton Kershaw threw 8 shutouts. He definitely won Cy Young. I don't think there's much of a question there. Strikeouts, Scherzer narrowly beat Kershaw with 7 more strikeouts. In the AL, it went to Chris Sale. Complete games, 5 from Sale, 11 from Clayton Kershaw. That is 1 out of every 3 starts. So 1 out of every 3 starts was a complete game for Kershaw. Innings pitched, unshockingly, Clayton Kershaw. Walks allowed, Rick Porcello and Steven Matz. Whip, Sale and Kershaw. Pitching war, Kershaw and Sale. Batting war, Mike Trout and Chris Bryant. So, the AL MVP goes to Aaron Judge ahead of Mike Trout. And in the NL, it goes to Clayton Kershaw. So, I really thought it was going to be Chris Bryant and Mike Trout. Mike Trout definitely got snubbed. I don't know if I'd say Chris Bryant got snubbed because Kershaw was incredible. Cy Young, Clayton Kershaw, and Chris Sale. Batting title, Mike Trout. I believe Miguel Cabrera was up there. He was 7th. I guess he cooled down towards the end of the year. So Mike Trout and I believe it was Chris Bryant. What am I doing? Yeah, Chris Bryant, reliever of the year, David Hernandez and Mike Parker. Rookie of the year, Eloy Jimenez and Enrique Aparicio. Hank Aaron goes to Freddie Freeman and Mike Trout. Gold Glove, la 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 la. Doesn't look like the Tigers won any awards, which I guess is unfortunate for them. So, let's look at the Tigers stats statistically, or I guess team-wise. Bobby Bradley played all 62 games. So, hits went to Miguel Cabrera only by 1, as Victor Reyes 157, Miggy 158. Home runs went to Jeimer Candelario with 20, Bobby Bradley with 19, Miggy with 17. RBIs, Bobby Bradley hit 81, Cabrera 73, Candelario 62. Stolen bases 13 from Reyes. Batting average 298 from Miggy, 282 from Candelario, 280 from Troy Stokes, even though he barely played. Yeah, 50 at-bats. Looking at the pitching rotation, Michael Fulmer went 13 and 14 with a 2.75 ERA. I think that ERA doesn't quite show justice of how he played. I say that in a weird way because I think he played worse than his ERA, even though I made it sound like he played better than his ERA showed. Fulmer had a solid year. Not great, but he did pitch pretty well. Daniel Norris, he sort of needs to get his act together. He hasn't really been pitching that well. 4.11 ERA with an 11 and 12 record. Franklin Perez was very solid, 12 and 9 with a 3.99 ERA in his first full year. He wasn't great, but he did pitch pretty well. And Matt Manning was only up for a limited time. He will be in the rotation next year. 5.93 ERA for him. We'll look at a few of the AAA players' MLB stats because they were in the MLB towards the end of the year. Alex Faedo played really well, 4-1 in 37 innings with a 2.63 ERA. Alejandro Alonso played really well, 317 batting average, 4 home runs and 12 RBIs. I know Enrique Nunez got a lot of playing time, 221, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs. Alvaro Reyes, 7.71 ERA, so he didn't do too great, and that pretty much does it. So, looking at the playoff bracket, there it is. I'm going to predict we see the Red Sox and the Dodgers in the World Series. Last year it was the Red Sox over the Nationals, and this year it is the Orioles over the Cubs. So one of the wild card teams, which is the Baltimore Orioles, ends up winning the World Series. Manny Machado gets a ring, beating out Chris Bryant and the Chicago Cubs, who won 106 games on the year. Certainly a massive upset for Baltimore. So, that pretty much does it for the regular season. Next episode will be the off-season. Hope you guys are excited. I know I am. I'm out. Peace.